I tore my mother's letter to pieces last night. Let the wind scatter it into the sea. 7 months ago, I disappeared from their lives, and they didn't care until the truth started to burn. My name's Steven. 7 months back, I stuffed my world into a dented pickup truck and drove 2,500 miles from Maryland to this rugged edge of Oregon. The air here tastes like salt and freedom, not the sour weight of forgotten promises. That final day in my old apartment, rain streaked the windows as I taped up boxes with hands that wouldn't steady. My friends, Claire and Nate, were there, stacking my life into crates while I scratched labels. Clothes, cameras, guilt. Claire zipped my duffel bag and said, "You're not even going to call them?" Not a word. I kept my eyes on the tape. They haven't asked about me in years. Why would they care now? Nate grunted, "That's brutal," but didn't push. He heaved a box into the truck. By dusk, the apartment was a shell, bare walls, a scuff on the floor from my old couch. I stood in the doorway, waiting for regret to hit. It didn't. I locked the truck's tailgate, the cold metal stinging my fingers, and we drove west. Cities melted into plains, then mountains, then this wild coast. For the first time, my chest felt open. My new place is a weathered loft with a skylight that leaks when it storms. But it's mine. I hung black and white photos. I shot myself, nailed up shelves for my books. I cook meals that smell of time and chili, not duty. Claire and Nate swing by sometimes, filling the space with bad jokes and pizza boxes. My Aunt Margaret calls every Tuesday, her voice warm like a hearth, asking about my work, my hikes, me. No one else does. 10 days ago, my phone buzzed. Margaret Lane, my mother. I let it ring 5 times, my throat tight. When I answered, her voice was all edges, like glass wrapped in courtesy. "Steven, you need to come back. This weekend. No greeting. No, where are you? Just an order." I knew why. My brother, Owen, was getting married, and his fiancée's family demanded a flawless tableau. Every chair filled, every line tacked. I was the missing frame, the prop to polish their myth of family. I said, "I'm busy," hung up before she could argue. But the messages kept coming. Texts from my father, voicemails from Owen, each one sharper, hungrier, like I'd stolen something they owned. My father's voice was the worst, cloaked in fake concern. "Son, it's just one night." For Owen. For us. Us. A word that never held me. I was 11 when I knew I didn't exist to them. I'd won a photography prize, my picture in the local paper. I left it on the fridge, hoping my father would notice. He didn't. But Owen's soccer goal? I got a steak dinner. At 15, I got a grant for a film workshop. I told my mother at breakfast, my voice cracking with hope. She said, "Don't make a big deal, Steven. Owen's got exams." I stopped trying after that. Paid for college with scholarships and weekend gigs. Built a career in digital forensics, cracking data puzzles for a firm in Seattle. My savings have zeros now. My kitchen has fresh coffee. I don't need their validation anymore. The wedding was yesterday. I didn't go. Instead, I walked a coastal trail, waves crashing below, the air thick with salt. My phone stayed off. When I got back, Margaret called. "Steven," she said, "it was chaos." Owen's fiancée, Hannah, and her parents noticed I wasn't there. They asked why I was absent, why my name only surfaced days before. My parents spun lies, said I was overseas, then on a work trip, then sick. Hannah's father didn't buy it. He grilled my father at the rehearsal dinner, and whatever he said left my father silent, shaken. Hannah's parents see the holes, Margaret said. Owen's rattled, glancing at the entrance like you'd walk in. Hannah's angry. She didn't sign up for a family stitched with lies. I leaned against my counter, the truth settling like damp wood smoke. They'd erased me for years, and now my absence was tearing their facade apart. But this morning, Margaret told me something that stopped my breath. Hannah's father isn't just curious. He's a retired detective. He'd been digging for weeks, pulling threads from my past, my college records, my job, my life. At the wedding, he stood up during the toast and called my parents out in front of 200 guests. He said he'd uncovered how they'd ignored me, sidelined me, left me to build alone. He told Hannah he wouldn't let her tie herself to a family that buries its own son. Hannah walked out of the reception, Owen trailing her, and now the wedding's on the verge of collapse. This morning, I signed the deed for a cabin. Not grand, just a place with a porch and a patch for wildflowers. My name's on every line, no one else's. Margaret texted, "Proud of you, kid. Grow something fierce." Claire and Nate are coming next week to help me plant the first seeds. I don't open my old messages anymore. The calls, the texts, they're echoes I don't need. Last night, I stood on my cliff, the ocean roaring below, and knew I'm not hiding anymore. I'm not running. I'm building. This life, this home, these roots, they're mine. And I'm done waiting for anyone to see me. If this story grabbed you, drop a comment. Share a time you broke free, built something real. Hit subscribe for more stories like this. Raw, unfiltered, true.
Thanks for watching by Betrayed Blood.